Hi chemistry students. Today we're going to talk about the copper silver nitrate lab. What we're going to start off talking about is why are we doing the copper silver nitrate lab? What are you trying to find while you're doing this experiment? So first of all, the problem that we have here, we have a single replacement reaction where we're going to take copper and silver nitrate and we're going to replace in the silver, so we get silver, that's there. We're going to get silver, and we're going to then combine copper and nitrate together. Well, the problem we have is that copper is a transition metal, and we don't know what transition metal it is, so we don't know what our formula is going to be. So you're going to be kind of finding that X and that Y by doing this lab. So, copper nitrate. There's three possible charges on copper. We could have copper with a +1 charge, we could have copper with a +2 charge, and we could have copper with a +3 charge. When we have copper with +1 charge, we'd call that copper 1. So if we're looking at copper 1 nitrate, the formula for copper 1 nitrate is going to be Cu and O3. Nitrate, remember, has a -1 charge. If we have copper 2 nitrate, we're going to write the formula for that, Cu and O3 2, in order to get your charges to balance. And then the last one, copper 3 nitrate, would be Cu and O3 3. So really what we're trying to find out is which one of these copper compounds we're forming in our reaction. And depending on which one we have, then we write our balanced equation out, our coefficients, so our stoichiometric ratios of copper and silver are going to change. So what you are basically tasked with doing is finding the mole ratio of copper to silver and use that ratio to determine the correct amount or the correct formula for copper nitrate. So really what you're going to need to find is how much copper wire you use in the reaction. You're going to do this by measuring the copper wire before the reaction and how much of it's after the reaction. And then you're going to measure how much silver is produced. So in our reaction, we start off with a copper wire, we're going to end up with silver crystals at the end. So we're going to measure how much of the silver we're going to produce by filtering it and then drying that filtered material. So once you find these, you can put those into our balanced equation, copper plus silver nitrate is going to form silver and whatever your compound is. So if you figure out what the three different balanced equations that it could be are, figure out what your ratios or what numbers X and Y go into your ratio, then you're going to be able to solve for our copper silver nitrate lab. So let's take a look at some of the materials you're going to find in the lab.
Okay, over here we have all the materials we need for our copper silver nitrate lab. The first two things we need are our two reactants, copper and silver nitrate. We're going to get the copper from a copper wire here, and then for the copper wire you're going to need some kind of writing utensil, doesn't matter what it is, but you're going to need some writing utensil to wrap the copper wire around. We're also going to have our test tube of silver nitrate. So we've pre-weighed this. This test tube contains 0.68 grams of silver nitrate. So you should write that down in your notebooks, 0.68 grams of silver nitrate. We have a flask and a funnel. Those are going to be used for filtering. We're also going to use some filter paper for the filtering, and we're going to need a squirt bottle. One of the first parts of the procedure is going to ask you to take the copper wire and put it into your test tube of the silver nitrate. However, our wire is far longer than our test tube of silver nitrate is. We want to get as much of it into that silver nitrate as we can. So what we're going to do is we're going to coil it. So you need some other type of writing utensil, and what you're going to do is you're going to pin it here, and you're going to wrap this around into a coil. And then you're going to leave a little top poking out. So now you can just take this and bring it off, so we have this coil of wire. And when you make the coil, you don't want the coil, the whole thing, to go into my test tube. Right here, the whole thing would go down into the test tube and I wouldn't be able to get the top out. So now you stretch it just a little bit such that the top of your copper wire is going to be sticking out of your test tube. One of the next things you're going to be asked to do is to fold some filter paper. In order to fold the filter paper, we need to get the filter paper to fit into our funnel there. However, you can see the geometries kind of don't match. So the way that you're going to fold the filter paper, first you're going to fold this in half. Then you're going to fold it again in half, so that way you have something that looks kind of like a quarter of a pie. And you can see that there's kind of an opening here. Now when you open up your filter, you don't want to open it up in the middle. You want to open it up so that way there's 3 pieces of paper on one side and 2 on the other. And so you'll see that now this here looks just like a cone. And then it fits nice and perfectly into our funnel. Once it's in the funnel, use a squirt bottle and squirt that down. Once you have your filter paper all folded, what you're going to do is you're going to place that into your funnel that's loaded on top of your Erlenmeyer flask here. Now it has a tendency to try to not stay in that spot. So what you're going to do is you're going to push it down and have it opened up, and then you're going to take a squirt bottle of water and you're going to squirt and dampen that filter paper. Now some of the water will go down into our flask. Luckily we're not trying to measure anything that's down there. Once you're done filtering your silver product, I didn't put any silver product into here, the next thing you need to do is you need to dry your filter paper. Now that's going to be an overnight process. It's going to take some time to dry, but the way that you're going to set it up to do that is first you're going to reach in and just touching the very edge. You're going to try and pull your filter paper out. This is going to have your product in the bottom of it. And then you're going to put this onto a paper towel, fold the paper towel in half, and kind of gently try to get some of the moisture off of your filter paper. It should somewhat flatten your filter paper into something like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pick this up and put it in the designated spot in your classroom to let them dry. Make sure that you mark down the members of your group name and the period. One of the biggest safety concerns we're going to have is going to be silver nitrate. The silver nitrate, although it's not poisonous, will darken or stain your skin kind of a brownish color if you get it on your skin. It is a permanent stain, however you have to keep in mind that your skin is constantly being shed, so it's not going to stay around for much more than about a week. But if you don't want big black stains on your hands for about a week, then you're going to want to be careful with this and try to not get it on your hands. The number one place where my students get it all over themselves is going to be when they remove the stopper. There's going to be a little bit of moisture on the inside of the stopper there. So you want to be careful that you're not putting your fingers all over the stopper and then getting silver nitrate all over yourself. For the rest of the reaction, try to stay away from this liquid as far as touching it with your fingers. The only time that your fingers should be coming any time near that is going to be when you're actually pulling your filter paper out of the flask.